How's everyone? Great. That's wonderful. That's wonderful. Would you mind opening your hymnals over to the unity statement of being? And everyone's ready? There is one presence and one power in this church, in our lives, and in the universe. God, the good, omnipotent. Let's try that one more time. There is one presence and one power in this church, in our lives, and in the universe. God, the good, omnipotent. Amen. Let's read our 5 unity principles. Unity principle number 1. God is absolute good, everywhere present. Number 2. God lives in us, therefore we are inherently good. Number 3. We are co-creators with God and create our experiences through our thoughts. Number 4. Prayer is creative thinking that heightens our connection with God and mind. And number 5. It is not enough to simply know these principles. We must live the truth we know. Amen. So would you mind standing and turn your hymnals to page 352. Beautiful, oh beautiful for spacious skies. Page number 362, I'm sorry. 362, oh beautiful for spacious skies. So as we are preparing our time of meditation, I ask that you silence your cell phones and go within. I invite you to move within from everything that you're dealing with, everything that you're experiencing that has led you to be here and to commune with this beautiful community, and to just go within into that beautiful space, that expansive space that's within you. This is a time where we celebrate this great country. And this is a time that we celebrate our inherent divinity. For this country depends on our conscious awareness with our divinity in order to bring forth that beautiful light, that beautiful presence that only you can bring. That is what makes this country great. All of its citizens bringing forth their unique gifts, talents, all being interwoven together to create this beautiful tapestry. And so we celebrate that as we move within and experience the beauty within, the vastness within, the infinite within. As we experience causality, the place of our power, the causal realm that brings forth everything that we experience in the world about us. Know that there are beautiful regions and areas for you to discover and explore and tap into. And contribute for if we are to truly make this world and this country a better place, it requires the resources that are within. Vast resources that we all possess. Vast resources that are meant to be used inclusively, interconnectedly with each other to bring forth something we have not seen. So in this time of meditation, I invite you to hold the awareness that you have everything within you. Whether you are experiencing that everything, whether you are experiencing that infinite abundance that lives within you, I invite you to hold that. That it exists within you nonetheless. I invite you to entertain into your consciousness, entertain the idea that you only need to find where you have hidden it and be joyously reunited with it. For it is there. It is seeking you just as you are seeking it. Whatever that it is, be still and know that it is just as you are. And it is not separate from you. It is apart from you by no means. Only in the conscious awareness is it hidden. So I invite you to contemplate on your divinity, on the source of your abundance, on the only aspect of you that will truly set you free. And bring forth that vision that we have for this great country. Yet bring forth that vision through you. For if not you, then who? Be still. Be at peace. Rest in the loving arms of indwelling spirit. Relax in the benevolent presence of that which has no beginning or end. You have no beginning or end. You to, when we return from this meditation, this state of meditation, to begin to train your eyes to focus on your place of power, on all causality which originates with your thoughts. Allow no effects to get into the way. For effects are the results of our thoughts. Effects are not the place of children of the living God. Effects are merely meant to bring messages and insights and understandings not causality. And these insights are meant to provide deeper understandings of the greatest subject in your life, and that is you. You are the greatest thing that you will study and learn about and experience. The journey of knowing thyself is the only truly meaningful journey. So I invite you to experience that. And as we are preparing to end this time of meditation, I ask that you join me in prayer as I pray to Spirit to create a space within me for this message, to bring forth this message and deliver it to take us into deeper understandings of who we are and our birthright, our inheritance, so that we may contribute to healing in this beautiful country. I ask you to experience the gratitude with me. Experience the gratitude, for it is already done in the mind of spirit. We are but willing participants in this beautiful process of self-realization for humanity. And we see these things in the name and after the loving nature of this benevolent presence that lives within us, that yearns to express itself in us, through us, and as us. And so it is. Amen. Okay, so would everyone please stand and open your hymnal to page 364, My Country, 'Tis of Thee. Page 364, My Country, 'Tis of Thee. sing God Bless America. And so they're going to sing one verse of God Bless America, and then we are going to join them in the second verse of God Bless. Well, they're going to sing the whole aspect of God Bless America, and then we're just basically going to repeat after them. Okay? All right. Okay. And also, when they're about to get finished with that part, I'm going to kind of do like this so we can all kind of sing and echo. It's going to be beautiful. All right.
When you look at the landscape of this country and its citizens and some of the things that we're going through, the turmoil and strife, it doesn't really seem like we're really that free. I mean, we are free from the standpoint that we're freely expressing our ideas, but it doesn't really seem like we're free because oftentimes we don't want to give people the space to express theirs. So why is that in this beautiful country? Why is that in this country that was founded on freedom of expression, and religion. And so many things that we take for granted. That there's so many people in other countries that don't have these rights. So I really took these things into, I really had to think about these things. I really had to think about it, because I like to just think. And so one of the things that I've been wanting to address, I'm going to actually address here. Especially when I read some statistics and reports stating that over 60% of Americans are Christians. Christians. So we have Christian teachings, loving thy neighbor as thyself. Christian teachings, non-judgment, not condemning. Christian teachings, be of the world but not of it. Be in the world but not of it. So many beautiful teachings. And then so I asked myself, I'm like, well, since we have all of these teachings, why aren't people taking these teachings seriously? And I'm not saying that individually, that the individuals aren't taking it, but as a whole, if you have 60% Christians, and then you have things like, church bombings and so much violence and aggression and people attacking people in the airports and stuff like that. People just trying to do their jobs. People are acting out. And so I think to myself, is this really Christian-like? So then I had to look at the institution of Christianity. I really had to look at it, take a good hard look at it, and see, if the ideas that we had were serving the people of today. You see, because the book is old. The teachings are old. So it was there in first century Palestine. Okay? And so I'm going to take you back to first century Palestine so you can understand what things were like when Christianity first hit the scene. In first century Palestine, because see, you had a people that were being oppressed by their religious institution. You had a people where the religious institution was in cahoots with the oppressor, where the high priest was appointed by the emperor. The high priest of Judaism was appointed by the emperor. So then you have rabbis wanting to be in line to be the next in line as far as the high priest. And so they are basically doing the bidding for Rome. So what you have going on is people that are not getting representation. And the people who are marginalized. They were marginalized. Our first century Palestine brothers and sisters in first century Palestine, they were marginalized. And they had no hope. Because everything in their society was teaching that it was a hopeless situation. Not only are we oppressed by an external government, but we also have our own spiritual leaders who are complicit in this oppression. You see, this is what they were going through. See, when we read the Bible, we're not seeing things from the standpoint of the Hebrews. We're seeing things from the standpoint of Western civilization. That's what we're seeing things from. So we're seeing things from the standpoint of, sitting in our comfortable living rooms, watching TV, getting on the internet, things like that. We're not seeing things from the same standpoint of someone who is being oppressed. Is everyone with me so far?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So you have to ask yourself what lens you're perceiving things through. What lens are you perceiving things through? That is very important. If you want to understand the Bible, really understand it, take it to a relational understanding, then bring it into what it actually means for somebody who's never gone through those things, you have to understand what lens you are perceiving it through. So I'm going to take you into the lens of the people in first century Palestine. So let's get away from the TVs and the internet and social media and all that good stuff. Being able to jump into our cars and being able to go here. We got to move away from all of that if we want to be able to understand what the people in first century Palestine were going through, which is why the message of the followers of the way of Jesus, of Rabbi Yeshua ben Joseph and the followers of the way, was so like, oh my God, this is exactly what we've been waiting for. It was edgy. It was radical. It was something completely new. You see? Something completely new. Something that they had never seen before. Something that offered some relief from this oppressive religion that they had been a part of all this time. Everything that this oppressive religion had taught, from you have to pay to get your sins forgiven, to all sorts of things, sin and iniquity and all these other different things which were the symbols of oppression for first century Palestine. You had this rabbi who was basically saying, it's forgiven, don't worry about it. It's forgiven. Who was beginning to instill appreciation into the people, telling them how great they were. And this Rabbi Yeshua ben Joseph, came from a doubtful pedigree. He did. Because in first century Judaism, you see, there was doubt on his paternity. And yet this person, same person who their society had taught was no good, was doing all these wonderful works. See, this was changing their views on things. This was changing everything that they had been taught. This was changing their perception. And so the way they looked at it, from a standpoint of self-identifying, you see, they were saying that, I can do these. I mean, look at him. He don't even know who his dad is or whatever. And look at all the things that he's able to do. Imagine what I can do. So say, for example, and I'm going to use a metaphor. Say, for example, you have children, children of color, in a neighborhood that is where they are marginalized, where they are brought up in an environment where their parents are struggling, everybody around them is struggling. And so the only images that they see of anybody that looks like them that's not struggling are people who are in entertainment or who are sports athletes. So then this child then says, okay, if I want a better life for me, if I want a better life, I have to be like this. This child sees people that look like them, but aren't being cast in the roles of doctors and lawyers and business owners and things like that. And so they think that this is their only way. You see? So they're not seeing themselves, even in the movies, they're seeing people that look like them being cast as criminals and stuff like that. You see? So this is going to impact the psyche of someone. So, I want you to hold on to that understanding of what I just gave you as far as being marginalized. Because guess what? We are marginalized. We are marginalized because of the programming that took place. Now, what happened when this was so edgy and everything was taken off by wildfire? Everything was just building up and people were just, hey, have you heard, blah, 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 blah. And even when Jesus left, it was still growing, a growing movement that was just taking off like wildfire. Because it was something that was better than what they were receiving. Now, and then about 90 CE, there began to be a change, but not much of a change, not changing the Hebrew culture and not really changing the Greek culture, but there began to be a change. And then later on, you had the Council of Nicaea that basically rewrote a lot of different things. And so Christianity ground to a halt as far as the taking off. So I want to get into that. I want to get into the aspects where Christianity ground to a halt. Because you see, the people were self-identifying with Jesus. They were self-identifying. They weren't placing him on a pedestal. You see, they weren't separate. He wasn't separate from them. You see, he was an example for them. So they saw Jesus in them at that point. At that point. In the book of Isaiah, chapter 7, verse 14, it reads, "Behold, the young woman will give birth to a son, and it will call him Emmanuel." That was the prophecy talking about Jesus. Okay? Now, that is what it says now. Before then, it said a virgin. Okay? But yeah, I'm about to get into the Immaculate Conception. Yes, I am. Yes, I am. I'm leading up to it because, I know that, we've been programmed with that. But yes, I'm about to get into the Immaculate Conception. But before then, it said a virgin. That was a Greek interpretation. It was a misinterpretation of that prophecy, number one. And then the book of Matthew that was then written after the book of Mark, because Mark was really the first book. They put Matthew in first because Matthew basically connected the dots better, which is what the Council of Nicaea said. It connected the dots better from the prophecy to, the canonical Gospels. But Mark was the Gospel that was written originally in Aramaic. And so Matthew, Luke, and John all sourced much of their information out of the book of Mark. Now, Matthew was written by a Greek author who knew about Hebrews, knew about the Hebrew language, and knew about Aramaic. And I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to tell you how this is so. You see, the Hebrews, even though they had miraculous births, they never believed in God bypassing natural procreation. The miraculous birth that they had were when the women in the Bible, for whatever reason, they were barren. Okay? And so Yahweh or God would then make them fertile and then they could have children. But they were not having children without their husbands. They were still having children. Okay? So many miraculous births in the Bible. Many of them. Okay? From the Hebrew lens, this would have been an abomination. The whole idea of the Immaculate Conception in Hebrew, I'm not talking about where we are. I'm not talking about for Western civilization. I'm not talking about Greek culture, because you see, Greek culture, that was a natural occurrence with Zeus and other gods that would then have maidens and virgins and things like that, and then they would have these superhuman beings. But that was an abomination to the Hebrews from their lineage. So this was not a Hebrew writer that wrote this. That's the point I'm giving you. This is a Greek writer. So yes, there were doubts on paternity, and so this was a way to kind of, the way it was looked at in Greece at the time, and as far as the Romans and people who were finally going to institutionalize this was looked at as a way of cleaning it up. There may have been other reasons as well, but what happened at that point was they took away our Jesus. They took him from us. See, Jesus was just like us until then. He was one of us. We could identify with him. And Jesus wasn't the only person in that time who was doing miracles. Not only were the apostles doing miracles, but there was a person who wasn't even a Hebrew by the name of Apollonius of Tyattis. And he was able to do many of the same things that Jesus did. So what I'm saying all that is to say that you have the same powers and abilities in you if you are willing to find them. They are there. You can do anything. You are infinite. You are unlimitless. Unfortunately, and I really don't want to say unfortunately because, you know something, everything that happens for a reason. I believe that. But that is how we became oppressive too. That is how, you know, just like Judaism was oppressive, that is how Christianity became oppressive at that point. Oppressive just means basically there's something holding us down. That's when sin and iniquity just basically just was drummed and beat into the consciousness of our people. And then it was just like, you know, Jesus was now the only begotten Son. So who will be? Who are we supposed to be? Some stepchildren or something? Is everybody following me so far?
Yes.
This has subliminal programming all over it. And so we have been a slave. So I'm here to tell you, Jesus was just like you. In the aspect of how he came here. And I'm here to say that also that everything, and let me tell you something, 2,000 years have passed since Jesus. We're supposed to be past Jesus by now. It's just natural inclination of humanity to continue to raise up. Technology, everything else is going up, but why hasn't spirituality done the same thing? You see? It's the same thing. Until the late 1800s when we had this explosion of new thought. It wasn't just the Fillmores. The Fillmores were actually taught by Emma Curtis Hopkins, you know, who's really known as like the mother of new thought. You know, and research who she is. She taught the Fillmores as far as the founders of Unity. She taught the founders of Divine Science. She taught all sorts of founders of different new thought. Emma Curtis Hopkins. And that's what we started with, but at the same time, no one is still reconciled, even though there are institutions like Catholics. Yeah, Catholics know everything, you know. But there are institutions that know this, but they still have not disseminated that information to the people. I even shared with my brothers and sisters, my ministers, that I had some people, I don't know if you want to touch that one, you know? Serious. Well, I'm going to touch, I'm not going to have fear for a job to prevent me from sharing the truth with my people. Period. So I want you to take all that in as I go into how Jesus expressed himself. I want you to take all that in as far as experiencing the real Jesus. Jesus that was, and you would have loved Jesus. He was a man of the people. You would have loved him. Had you been in the first century, you would have loved him. He never put himself above anybody. He never did that. He looked at us all as equal in the eyes of God, as equal. We are the ones that separated ourselves. We are the ones who put him up on a pedestal. We are the ones who did that. That is not what he wanted. That is not what his teachings was about. When he was talking about, you know, that if you want to get to the Spirit, it has to come through me. He was talking to a Jewish audience, you see, because they weren't going to experience the kingdom going through corruption in their religious institution. He was talking to a Jewish audience. He was not, in that time, in first century class, he wasn't thinking about what was going to be happening in 2,000 years, and he was going to be impacting people in other countries that had nothing to do with the situation that these people were going through. It was a Jewish audience. That does not mean that there are not limitless paths to God. He was saying those that are in Judaism, basically, if you want to experience the kingdom, you have to come through this way. For now, Is everybody with me so far?
Yes.
I just want to make sure. It seems like everybody's like quiet. Yes. Okay. All right. So let's now walk with Jesus now. Let's walk and see what were some of the things, because see now that we are, and this will be a gradual process as you begin to assimilate the things that I've told you, but at some point it is my hopes, and this is what I prayed when I put the talk together. I said, Spirit, let them see Jesus in them at the conclusion of this message. Let them see that these possibilities are their possibilities and stop focusing them on something else. Let them see what they can do, Spirit. So let's just see about Jesus. Okay, the first thing you need to know about Jesus is he stayed in the realm of causality. He stayed in the causal realm. He was always in the realm of causality. He was not in the realm of effects. He was not in the realm of what happened as a result of cause. He stayed where the power was, which was in the causal realm. That's where he stayed. He kept his consciousness focused on that. And so how you do that is, see, you keep your focus, your consciousness focused on the thoughts. First, start keeping your consciousness focused on your own thoughts, because see, you are the thinker, you see. And everything that you think is, it is, period. Doesn't mean that it is for somebody else, but it is for you. So you are the thinker. So it is important to know what you are thinking at all times and be a conscious thinker and begin to consciously reel in those thoughts that we have allowed to just run rampant and just do whatever they want. You see? And that's where Jesus stayed. Jesus stayed in the causal realm. So when Jesus saw things happening, he saw people getting upset and whatever and striking people and things like that, he didn't look at it from a standpoint of the effect where now our interpretations are getting caught into it, where now we're like interpreting things as bad, or this person is they're evil or whatever. No, he looked at the cause. This person is in pain. That's the cause. That's why he was moved by compassion. This person is in pain. This person needs love. Let me give this person love. This person is in pain. Let me see where I can help this person to alleviate their pain. He wasn't busy judging the person. He wasn't busy judging them for acting out, for how they were seeing themselves. You see what I'm saying? Okay. I want to make sure we're on the same page. You want to know what it's like to be Jesus? I'm telling you what it's like to be Jesus. What it's like to see like Jesus. Because how you see yourself is exactly what you're going to experience. And that's what he saw. Okay. Focusing on cause. That is so important. It is so important to focus on the cause and not the effects, brothers and sisters, because the effects have your interpretations all over them. You see? If two of us witness somebody that's doing something, we are going to have different interpretations of it. So when you are focusing on effects, that's you. That's not that person. That's your interpretation, your idea of that person. So you're getting upset with this person for something that you're experiencing. You're having thoughts about this person and something that this person's doing. You're thinking that they're not supposed to be doing it, or whatever. Who said they're not supposed to be doing it? They're in pain, they're in pain. Period. This is why compassion, when you see things from a causal realm and you understand what is at the root of it, you will feel compassion too. All right. Everybody with me so far?
Yes.
Okay, all right. So, the next thing about Jesus is, see, you notice in the Bible it talks about, like, different areas where it's like, and he said this, and they were amazed, and he said that, and they were amazed, and he's like, man, he said all these things, and they were amazed, right? Okay, all right, I'm going to tell you about that, okay? You have to be open to new ideas and new possibilities in every moment, you see? New ideas and new possibilities exist in every moment, but if you are coming from this place where you're in status quo, or you're in what you read, or in the intellect, and you're sitting up there being grounded in the intellect, and you're not connecting with that infinite knowing that already is within inside of you, that actually knows how to meet the situation, that actually knows and has divine ideas about the situation, and things like that, then you are going to come from a lower consciousness. But Jesus focused on new ideas. So let me tell you how to do that. Let me tell you how to actually practically do that. So you have to take everything that you know about anything and take it off the table, dismiss it. Dismiss it. And then you can find yourself being open to something else. So let me give you an example. And I've shared this with a couple of individuals. I'm mentoring a few people. Let's say making a cake. Say you want to make a cake. Okay? You have to get everything that you know about making that cake out of there. Every single thing that you know about making that cake out of there. If you want to know something new about making that cake, you got to get all of the traditional ideas, all of the traditional understandings, everything that you know about making a cake, get it out of here. It's not serving you. It is old information that is preventing you from coming into a new understanding of making that cake. Are we on the same page?
Yes.
Okay. I just want to make sure. We all have this ability. We all have this ability. But we have to get out of what we think we know. To open ourselves up to a part of us. A part of us is not outside of us, it's inside of you guys. It's inside of you. It's inside of you. A part of you that already knows new ways, new ideas, new information. And it's coming all the time, all the time, all the time. This is why everything he was saying, they were amazed. They were amazed because he was giving them information that they had never heard before. You see, he wasn't subscribing to everything that they already knew. He was giving them new things, new ideas, new possibilities. And you can do the same thing. You have the same power within you. You can do everything. There is nothing you can't do. Open your eyes and see it. See these possibilities for yourself. And the last thing that he did all the time, he trusted in spirit for everything. He trusted in spirit for everything. You want to know what it's like to trust in spirit for everything? It is like a warm blanket. It is like, no matter what's going on, you feel okay. You don't feel the anxiety. You don't feel the fear. You don't feel what your brothers and sisters are talking about because you are trusting in spirit. And see, spirit has this infinite intelligence, you see. So when we focus on our wisdom, we focus on our intellect and things like that, and it could be books, it could be anything, okay? That is only for a certain set of things that are existing in a certain time. A certain situation, a certain circumstance, things like that. So yes, it will serve for a time. But things change, brothers and sisters. We change. Everything changes. Circumstances change. And so if you're going to focus on what is written or something that you learned in a book or something like that, there are going to be unique differences in what you're experiencing from what you're reading in this book. You see? And there are a lot of different things that are not going to apply. But when you are trusting in spirit, there is a pipeline to this infinite intelligence that knows what to do, that knows what to say, that knows how to reach someone exactly where they are, because you are trusting. You're not trusting in that degree that you earned. You're not trusting in the book that you read. You're trusting in something that transcends all of those things. And that's what Jesus did on a regular basis. And you can do the same thing. There was nothing that Jesus didn't do that you can't do. Nothing. So I got an affirmation for everybody. All right. Okay. Here we go. All right, here's my affirmation. Here. Okay. All right. Everybody repeat after me. I am divinely protected, inspired, and guided by spirit.
I am divinely protected, inspired,
And guided by spirit. Do it one more time. I am divinely protected, inspired, and guided by spirit. Absolutely. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. So go and be that light that your Father, Mother God intended for you to be. Thank you. This is our time for our tithes and our offering, where we can show our love and support for this ministry and all that it brings, all that it does. And will everyone repeat after me? Divine love flowing through me, blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Divine love flowing through me, blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Divine love flowing through me, blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. In the name of the Father, in the name of the Son, in the name of the Holy Spirit, it is so. Now. Just got a few announcements. There is electronic giving that is in the desk by Wiki. Just please see Wiki if you wish to give electronically. You can do so on your cell phones, the QR code, and you can scan it. We have the new Metaphysics 1 SEE class that is going to be starting this upcoming Saturday on the 8th. So if you have not paid for your class, because it's a $40 registration fee, we do have to pay for a lot of different materials and things like that. So, you can bring a check or a money order to on Saturday if you want, or you can also pay via that QR code. Just make sure that you put on there class registration, on the day so we know what it's for. And let's see. Just want to make sure I'm remembering everything. It was like, when I leave, it's like, I forgot to say this. And I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. So I believe, yes. See, this is going to be another one of those moments. I forgot to say this. So we have some new cards that have been printed up. And on the front has a beautiful picture of our church. And on the back, the thing that says, you're invited. And so it reads, you're invited to have refreshments with us and enjoy our 1 hour service. We make sure that we have that big right there. 1 hour service, filled with meditation, music, and a Sunday message to start your week. And you can just write your name, invited by. And so just add it to somebody. And so if they come, they come. If they don't, they don't. This is a wonderful, I like to say this is the best kept secret, in New Orleans right now. It's a wonderful community right here. And you know something? If more people knew about it, they would come. Can I get an amen?
Amen.
Okay, all right. So if you would like to have, you can get up to 5 of these cards at a time. If you'd like to have up to 5 of these cards, please see Sonia or Susie, and you'll be able to get some of these cards. Just let them know that you want some of these cards to hand out. And that's it. Now I won't have that. Like I forgot to say this. All right. So let us say our prayer for protection. The light of God. I'm sorry. Yes.
Susie.
You are so right. There is. Thank you so much, Ms. Jeanette. I thank you. Next Sunday, correct?
Yes, next Sunday, that we will be having a tea to welcome our new minister, and I hope that you will all come.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And listen, I so appreciate these get-togethers that you put together. It is so needed, so thank you so much. All right. Prayer for protection. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. The Lord watches between me and thee while we are absent, one from the other. Be patient with me. All right, let's all join hands for our peace up.